Yo. I missed. Is there a guy down there? What are these guys shooting at? The fuck? I don't know what these cunts are smoking, man. My Tarkov's fine. Straight up. That's just fucking. I don't know. Tripping. Oh, hello. What's that? Whoa. No.
Нормально, нормально.
If this loads out of the raid perfectly fine, I don't know. It's taken a few seconds. That should be done now. Gonna start on once or twice, loading. Oh, I'm out. Okay. Dude, just stop. Yeah, yeah, true. Nah. The just bosses. Ceramic? Or... Ugh. Creeper. As if this mount fits. Are you serious? What the fuck? This is clipping through the shit. Oh shit. No, never mind. Spending that much on a gun. This. Throw this on. All these grips. Recoil pad costs so much. What the like a nice cheap alternative to this shit. This is the RK0, dude. Not here. Not the RK0, sorry, the mini one. The one that has like the chopped off fucking bottom hand. I have one of these, I'll just throw that on, fuck it. That's not bad. Magnifique. 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 Some light in my room. Ah, man, waking up at 6 in the morning is like tiring. That's nice and cheap. What the fuck? Do something like this. I'll have to take a fresh CMS spot. Oh, fuck. You saw the M32s here, right? Huh. Bro. Fuck. Alright. Just do some fucking. Some shit on his Spanish, fuck. This rig is actually fucking nice, dude. It's so cheap. We're good. Can't wait to get a haircut next week, dude. Fuck yeah, dude. Use some skin fade on my head. Get socks off. And my feet fly. It's so long. Gotta be stinky as fuck. Shit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, space running out. Hey, shit. Abs on. Love it. Nikita, you just know exactly where to put me every fucking raid, don't you? Every raid. I want scavs, you give me PvP spawn. I want PvP, you give me scav spawns. What the fuck is this? Oh, he's dead. Tran man. Let me know that. What's all these ciggies, man?
Бам!
Did I drop a mag? Can I shot that? Fucking no. Now I've been fucking DC'd. Well, my whole neck got DDoS, dude. Dude, that was a DDoS. No. Oh. Imagine like people trying to DDoS me, trying to like make me believe this shit. I have upload bit rates in the bottom left. And we see when it all just hits 0 for a moment. I have a good indicator. I can just go reset my router and change the IP because it's a dynamic IP. Could probably run a malware tool to clean up my shit again. I don't know. But a few things I can do. To stop people from DDoSing me. It's funny because like people are so pathetic that when like they're trying to fuck with someone, i.e. me, they don't realize I'm actually like intelligent. I'm aware of like what's going on. And like they probably expect me to act the fool. But it's kind of like, you guys just spent money on that? Damn, bro. Is this reaction? You expecting? Damn, bro. Life's gotta suck. The only enjoyment you can get is trying to mess with someone. But you're messing with someone who's aware of what you're trying to do. And it's kind of like redundant. You're just wasting your own time. You're literally wasting your life doing nothing. Wouldn't be surprised if I'm dead. I'm actually surprised I'm alive. Fuck, okay. Just standing in dorms for like 4 minutes doing nothing. No one walked in there. Ain't nobody gonna hold me down. You can't do shit. You can't do shit. Your life is powerless, motherfucker. Imagine if like the only power or like, you know, thing that makes you feel like, you know, you exist in this world is the reactions you get from people by fucking with them. Then you choose to fuck with the wrong guy, and like the only reaction he gives you makes you want to kill yourself. Oh, God. Oh. No scavs here? Oh, there's one. What? No, it's not one. Oh man, the ergo on this thing is insane. Ain't nobody gonna hold me down. Oh god. I'm so glad I'm actually not a popular streamer. Like I don't get paid to do this shit, meaning there's no like financial loss, you know? From like my opinions. Is everyone fucking invisible? What?
Сука, ёбнули нашего!
No, they're not. They're just down there. I just like want to have a nap. You have like a dad nap or some shit. I figure out how to make my own emotes that are animated. Oh, I'm fucking like tired, bro. I need to eat more food. Can't wait till next Tuesday. Just have more food to eat. Just be feeling more energetic during longer days like this. Hmm. Chuck Norris. In what?
I've been waiting 25 years for this. You're gonna wish you'd waited longer.
It does start like that. Why is it? I remember it differently.
When you started to object to the narrative, what narrative were you objecting to, and on what
Okay.
grounds? This is back, say, in '92. What narrative were you objecting to,
Okay.
and on what grounds were you objecting
You're
to?
touching on something that took me a while to understand. You know, Goebbels famously said, you know, if you tell a big enough lie and repeat it often enough, it'll become the truth. There's been a lot of that in this, but there are aspects of establishing the narrative, i.e., what makes something the truth, that I hadn't appreciated. So the narrative was the climate is determined by a greenhouse effect, and adding CO2 to it increases it, causes warming, and moreover, the natural greenhouse substances besides CO2, water vapor, clouds, upper level clouds, will amplify whatever man does. Now, that immediately goes against Le Chatelier's principle, which says if you perturb a system and it is capable internally of counteracting it, it will. And our system is.
And you think that applies? Okay, and so that's a very germane issue, because
Well, but let me
even if please go ahead.
let me finish, because okay, so that was a little bit odd. You began wondering, where did these feedbacks come from? And immediately, people, including myself, started looking into the feedbacks and seeing whether there were any negative ones or how did it work. But underlying it, and this is what I learned, if you want to get a narrative established, the crucial thing is to pepper it with errors, questionable things, so that the critics will seize on that and not question the basic narrative. The basic narrative in this sense was that climate is controlled by the greenhouse effect. In point of fact, the Earth's climate system, which has many regions, but two distinct different regions are the tropics, roughly the minus 30 to 30 degrees latitude, and the extratropics, outside of 30 degrees, plus or minus. They have very different dynamics. In the tropics, the crucial thing for the Earth, by the way. And this is a technicality and much harder to convey than saying that greenhouse gases are a blanket or that 97% of scientists agree. This is actually a technical issue. The Earth rotates. Now, people are aware of that. We have day and night. But there is something called the Coriolis effect. When you're on a rotating system, it gives rise to the appearance of forces that change the winds relative to the rotation. And the only component of the rotation is the component that is perpendicular to the surface. So at the pole, the rotation vector is perpendicular to the surface. At the equator, it's parallel to the surface. It's zero. And this gives you phenomenally different dynamics. So where you don't have a vertical component to the rotation vector, motions do what they do in the laboratory in small scales. If you have a temperature difference, it acts to wipe it out. And so if you look at the tropics, the temperatures at any surface are relatively flat. They don't vary much with latitude. On the other hand, you go to the mid-latitudes, extratropics, there the temperature varies a lot between the tropics and the pole. We know that. I mean, temperatures are cold at high latitudes. And if you look at changes in climate in the Earth's history, what they consist in is a tropics that stays relatively constant. And what changes is the temperature difference between the tropics and the pole. During the Ice Age, it was about 40 degrees centigrade. Today it was about 60. Today it's about 40. During 50 million years ago, something called the Eocene was about 20. And so that's all a function of what's going on outside the tropics. Within the tropics, the greenhouse effect is significant. But what determines the temperature change between the tropics and the pole has very little to do with the greenhouse effect. It is a dynamic phenomenon based on the fact that if you have a temperature difference with latitude, it generates instabilities. These instabilities take the form of the cyclonic and anticyclonic patterns that you see on the weather map. Now, the tropics are very different. I mean, you know, even a casual look at a weather map, the systems that bring us weather travel from west to east at latitudes outside the tropics. Within the tropics, they travel from east to west. The prevailing winds are opposite in the two sections. And we're saying that what changes due to the greenhouse effect, however you look at it, is amplified at the poles. That is not true. There's no physical basis for that statement. All they do is determine the starting point for where the temperature changes in mid-latitudes, and that's determined mainly by hydrodynamics. Okay, that's complicated to explain to someone. Mm-hmm. And yet, it's the basis for claiming that these seemingly small numbers, you know, they're saying if global mean temperature goes up 1.5 degrees, it's the end. That's based on it getting much bigger at high latitudes and determining that. But all 1.5 degrees at the equator would do, or in the greenhouse part of the Earth, is change the temperature everywhere by 1.5 degrees, which for most of us is less than the temperature change between breakfast and lunch.
Did you notice that big tech companies today are masquerading as privacy companies? Just fix your privacy settings, turn off app tracking, and you're all...
Correct me if I've got it wrong. So, first of all,
Wait a minute.
It is to use. It just takes one click to protect all of your devices. One ExpressVPN subscription covers up to 5 devices at the same...
Then correct me if I've got it wrong. So, first of all, the world at the moment is making a big deal out of climate and associating climate change with the greenhouse effect. the trapping of heat. And we're all associating the greenhouse effect with an increase in carbon dioxide. And at least initially, we were associating that increase in carbon dioxide with global warming. And then we've added the proposition that, well, not only will there be warming, say, of up to 1.5 degrees or 2 degrees by the end of the century, and maybe there's some variation in those predictions, but we're also looking at a system that's characterized by a variety of positive feedback loops. And the danger here is that a 1.5 degree increase might not be catastrophic, but that might trigger a sequence of cataclysmic events. We hear sometimes about the melting of the Greenland ice cap, for example, the rapid rise in sea level that would occur as a consequence, the increase of temperatures at the poles, the release of methane as a consequence, let's say, of the permafrost thawing, and then a runaway greenhouse effect because of that. And you evinced some skepticism, well, about the whole narrative, but also more particularly, and perhaps more importantly, you don't sound like you're a big fan of the idea of runaway positive feedback loops.
Oh, well, there are a lot of things enmeshed in what you've said. Even the 1.5 degree depends on the positive feedbacks. Otherwise, CO2 would be even less significant, much less significant. So those, you assume that water vapor increases and amplifies it, but the whole picture is one-dimensional. So, you'd have to know the area where water vapor is important. It goes through a mess of things. And we know now that that probably isn't occurring, even people who support the narrative. So you keep...
That water vapor isn't amplifying carbon dioxide effects.
If it is, it has to be considered as part of an infrared feedback, and nobody has detected that that is actually positive.
Climate change is one of the things, from my understanding, that the Earth simply goes through these things. Like, yeah, no, we are producing CO2. Obviously, like, that is happening, yeah. But, fucking, like, carbon emissions had existed on this planet for a while. Like, it's not like plants on this planet fucking turn carbon dioxide into oxygen or anything. Through something called like photosynthesis. Where the plants take light and pretty sure carbon emissions and consume both and produce oxygen. Like, the idea of global warming isn't as catastrophic as what people make it out to be. Because the route that, like, humanity is going towards is, like, a more sustainable fucking eco-friendly, world. Like, yeah, there's, like, cities that produce tons of, like, carbon emissions. But, like, compared to probably what it was like 10 years ago, it should be less. With, like, electric vehicles, etc. being, like, becoming the norm. This and that. A lot of electricity becoming the norm. Like, the argument, like, to stress and to actually push and act like some climate activist is just, like, a waste of your time. because there are already people who are way smarter and way more qualified and in positions to take care of this, and like they are taking care of it. Can't just have to stop trying to act. I don't know. Like, did we stop oil? Stop oil thing? That's like pretty charade, if you ask me. Like, it's pretty fucking charade. Like, what's that accomplishing? Nothing. You're literally just getting in the way of people's lives to like get some clout or some shit. You know? I'm gonna say it, bro. Probably actually fucking gonna in and out.
This the Sphere, Vegas's newest, most ambitious, and most eye-catching attraction to date. And although its exterior is impressive on its own, what lies inside is actually far more interesting than you might think. Let's take a closer look. The city of Las Vegas is famous for its unique and over-the-top architecture. Its resorts and casinos are some of the most iconic structures in the entire world. From the Venetian to the Bellagio and the MGM Grand, everything about Vegas is built around the idea of magnificence and extravagance. And so, the construction of a building as crazy and ridiculous as the Sphere is just another addition to the city's unique skyline. But what exactly is it, and why is it being built? The Sphere is a music and entertainment arena located just a block away from the world-famous Las Vegas Strip. At more than 100 meters tall and with a diameter of 150 meters across, it now holds the world record for being the largest spherical structure in the whole world. This record was previously held by the Avicii Arena in Sweden. Constructing such a behemoth doesn't come cheap. In its entirety, the project is estimated to cost as much as $2 wraparound LED screen that follows the dome's curvature. Though it is quite small compared to the behemoth one on the outside, the indoor screen is still impressive on its own. With a total surface area of 15,000 square meters, it will be the largest and highest resolution wraparound display in the whole world. To create the best possible content for this incredible screen, the creators behind the MSG Sphere had to engineer their own unique camera system, called the Big Sky. This system is one of the most powerful in the world, allowing for 18K footage with 120 frames per second. If you're not familiar with these numbers, trust
forever.
Things are tragic and difficult, but